Hey yo, so Jesse, um, today we're gonna cover morals number 9, and this comes from the passages between Cain and Abel and Noah. Um, and the moral is, don't be so corrupt that God destroys you. Right? That seems that seems like a simple thing to do, but what happened is because of Cain's lineage and part of Seth's lineage. Um, and the fighting and the killing and you know debauchery that went on, it grieved God that he had even created mankind, because they were mistreating each other so bad. And if you grieve God because of your actions, and God sets himself to destroy you, then that's what I'm talking about. That's that corruption. And I hate to say it, but you know, if you go through all the morals in the Bible and you look at what we've got in simplicity already, and that we're going chronologically through the Bible. We're not doing any great big major um, uh, you know unusual study or anything like that. Not being very picky about detail, right? So think about this, like what you do in your life, if it's against God's morals, specifically against God's morals, not your personal morals, but God's morals, to the point that it makes him, you think that you're making him unhappy enough to destroy you. Or even if you don't think that, and you're just like, well, whatever, I can do what I want. You know, times have changed. It's a different time that we live in now. Well, folks have said that in the past, and the morals weren't different then, and they aren't different now. Um, Whether or not what you're doing is acceptable in this time between humans is a different story. But it's the same God. It's the same set of morals. It's the same respect for each other, fellow humans, that we have to have. If we don't have that, then God's going to destroy us. And I'm a big student of Bible prophecy. Okay, I've got charts on my laptop that show how much of Bible prophecy has been fulfilled, and what's left to be fulfilled. And I can tell you, the prophecies left before Jesus returns, before Jesus' return, are like two. You got one prophecy that has to do with Damascus and Syria, and God blasting that with sand until it's no longer a city. And then you have another one that's about the invasion of Israel by Gog, Magog, chief princes of Meshech and Tubal, and basically half the world with them. Okay, so we're looking at some very simple prophecies before Jesus returns, and and what that should tell us is, if you don't think we're living in the times like Sodom and Gomorrah, if you don't think we're living in that dark period of human history with the abundance of knowledge but the increase of sin, right before Armageddon, well, you're going to end up with a problem because you're going to be caught off guard. And I don't know how to express or to tell other folks, get your morality under control. Learn Yahweh's name, Yahweh. Learn your Messiah's name, Jesus. You know, and Yahweh, that's how it's said in the Hebrew. That's two words. Yahweh, often called Yahweh, and Ahih. And that's the name found in Genesis 3. Or Exodus 3. Sorry. And then Jesus is the Greek name for Jesus. Okay? And I think it's just more respectable to use the names that were in the original language, knowing who you're talking about, and not like, oh, it's okay, you know, he'll listen to me more or whatever, or listen to me just the same, no matter how I pray. No, it's not really true. I've noticed that when you say the right name, your prayers get listened to a lot more, and that's just the way it is. So try to straighten your life out. Don't be corrupt. Don't you know, like, knowing, if you find yourself the impulse to lie, don't lie. If you find yourself the impulse to get super angry and cause harm to somebody else, go somewhere else. You know, if you find the impulse in yourself to do whatever sexual acts out of wedlock or with somebody of the same sex, get yourself out of that situation. Straighten your mind out. Don't be corrupt. Don't take bribes if you're a government official. You know, don't make backdoor deals with evil folks that can hurt a lot of other folks. Doesn't matter if you're in a public position or not. Just don't. You know, don't disregard the laws of the land. You know, like, there's so much that this covers. Don't be corrupt. We all, in our heart of hearts, know what corruption is. And we all know that you can do good or you can do evil. And some things are a thing of conscience, whether it's corrupt or not, but a lot of things aren't. So, like, don't be corrupt. Don't allow the world around you to be corrupt, because we're staring down the barrel of Armageddon. Okay. And if you want to know what Armageddon's going to look like for the United States of America, or for pretty much anywhere in the world, those California fires are it. You know, like, that's Armageddon. Like, you know, hurricane force winds blowing sideways, wiped out more than 10,000 homes, and at this point in time, it's still burning. No water to stop it. And those folks that are over there are lucky they didn't get caught in it and die. And there's at least a good number of folks that have gotten caught in that and died. You know? And I don't know what the number is, because it keeps going up. So consider yourself as a Christian, as a Jew, as a Bible believer. Ask yourself, am I the one that's corrupt? You know, am I so corrupt that God will destroy me? And I've had to ask myself that lately too, you know, like, because I know, like, okay, I have an alcohol problem sometimes because I have a really bad depression. And one doesn't cure the other, it makes it worse. And I have a hard time holding a steady job sometimes. And Well, part of that's economy and part of that's, me. And, you know, sometimes I get upset about things that I shouldn't, but I haven't murdered anybody. At least, not aside from a prayer to Yahweh. And I haven't cheated on my wife. I didn't do things out of wedlock beforehand. And when I'm capable of properly dealing with problems, I do. So, okay, all right, there's that. But at the same time, sometimes God asks you to do things and then you don't want to, and that itself could be cause for personal destruction. Okay, so every person's situation is different. You have to do the morals that God teaches us to in the Bible. And then if you're in a special position in a church or in your family or at work or in the government or before God, you think you're a prophet or a messenger of God, then you need to take extra care to make sure that you're not corrupt. And that's a hard thing, because some things are of conscience, and some things you might think in your conscience, it's great, it's wonderful, it's not bad. However, God may disagree wholeheartedly. And at the end of the day, the one who governs morals, who thinks a thing to be corrupt or not, is not you or me personally. It's not us human beings that makes that decision, okay? It's Yahweh He and Jesus. And we need to be very respectful of beings that can radically alter the universe, change the world within seconds. Reach their spirit onto a human being and change their mentality for good or for evil, for good or for insanity, or just change your mode of thinking just by, because we're human beings, we don't even have control over whether we're sick or whether we're healthy or anything like that, So be aware to be respectful and kind to the Almighty Creator of the universe, Yahweh He. Because if you don't, well, that could be a problem. And being corrupt, or being found corrupt by Him for any reason, even if it's one that you don't personally think is justifiable, or something, maybe it's something that you think is petty, or maybe it's something that you just disagree with because you just disagree with. It doesn't matter, because you don't have the power to fight a deity that controls literally everything around you and parts of you. Okay? So that seems like, oh man, you're just fear-mongering. No, I'm not fear-mongering. I'm just saying, hey, respect where respect is due. And by all means, take it seriously. Don't just oh yeah, God is wonderful, God is love, blah, 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 blah. No, there's parts of God that get disgusted by humanity. You know, God gets disgusted by humanity. When you read the events leading up to the flood in Genesis, he got disgusted by humanity and destroyed humanity once. And since then, there's been a series of prophecies in the Bible, most of them destructive, mind you, okay? Most of them destroyed humans in large quantities. And we have another big one coming called Armageddon, okay? And it's like we're at the second to the last prophecy before we get to Armageddon. So, and even that's debatable as to whether he's going to do that before or after Jesus returns. So we're looking Armageddon in the face. And it's like, hey, be very careful in this time, okay? Don't listen to pastors and preachers and members of your church that are like, it'll be okay. It's not going to be okay. It will not be okay. All right? It's going to be bad. It's going to be disastrous for all of humankind. It's going to be a horrible, miserable, awful loss of human potential and human life. Okay? And it's because of corruption. So, don't be corrupt, please. Please survive. Don't be corrupt. All right, y'all. Those are my thoughts for this morning. If you like it, give me the old thumbs up and subscribe.